Luffy clapped Kaido's cheeks after several attempts. Luffy is finally blown up Tortuga. His power is never gonna give you up, but let's retrace his journey to see the times he got violated by Kaido. Before we get to Gear 5, let's start off with Luffy first meeting with Kaido's dragon form as he descended in Okorobe. So here's the one thing, I kinda don't like how people just run away from those talons in the sky. I would for sure take pictures of it, tell everyone about it, and then post it on FeetFinder to earn some money. I mean, don't even show your face, Kaido. We all know that people who sell feet pics cannot show their face, and now they'll know that you're a blue dragon with a mustache. And even if Kaido looks mighty strong, Luffy will not have a problem knocking down his brain, and we'll eventually find out here in a sec. Jack, why would he show himself? The talons were enough. If those talons could talk, I would ask them for consent. Fortunately, they can't deny me. Those brats, that's another offense, Kaido. You can't sell toe pics and be EDP 445 at the same time. Of course, Luffy and his crew are shocked. Kaido just revealed he sells feet pics and wants his woman fresh from the spawn point. I'd be shocked too. Blue sharing the side, Dragon has a magnificent mustache. Kaido's menacing gaze shifted to the mountain where Nami, Sanji, and Brook were. And afterward, Kaido charged an attack towards Open Castle, and he gets wild. Kaido does not look like an ugly bastard from a certain animated form of media. Maybe he took interest in Nami? No way. I am watching the right side, right? Oh, he just blew up. Oh, not the sexual kind. Luffy saw that and his rage boiled over after Kaido let out his unhygienic breath at his friends. Kaido took that mountain virginity, and Luffy was determined to do the same to Kaido. He Naruto runs towards Kaido with the intent to get close shots of his strutters. He definitely got his priorities right. A true pirate. Then he inflates his condom arm, dyes it black so no one can see how small it actually was. Then Kaido notices Luffy, but he doesn't dodge. The heat lands. Luffy then remembers he's the main character, so he's like, let me end the Wano arc early. Listen, please, this is not Promised Neverland Season 2. Don't speedrun the story. Then he decides he's not gonna listen to my advice, shoots to Kaido and wakes him up. They talk for a while. Kaido says, I have more feet sales and followers than you on FeetFinder. Luffy replies, I'm not even on FeetFinder. I just use the talents for my own account. This is big fiction. It really drives home that my guy Luffy is a pirate. Kaido becomes mine and they're parking in what you might call a friendly banter. Luffy then lands a solid punch on Kaido's face. Then he relentlessly punches Kaido, and as he readies himself for another punch, that we get a close-up shot of Kaido's enormous fragrant talent. I have this exact frame printed on my wall. It is starting to crumble. Kaido regains his balance as he needs balance because he's just floating. Major plot hole. His Otaku breath towards Luffy and pushes him back, then follows up with a tail slam. Of course, Luffy dodges it and prepares for another attack, but Kaido has something else in mind. He then spits on Luffy, however Luffy dodges all their insanitary saliva shots using some anime logic. Luffy feats lands, continues his barrage of attacks, including my favorite move of his, Giant Stamps. I like this move for no particular reason, but there's something about it that makes me feel complete. Unfortunately, after that, Luffy went back to his arms, and I had to go on FeetFinder to feel whole again. He lands a Gomu Gomu no Magnum and knocks down Kaido. Then Kaido reverts back to Jason Momoa, and as Luffy sees his handsome face, he becomes even more enraged. Kaido stands up and Luffy enters his Gear 4, but Kaido, being the masochist he is, just stands there and takes a Kongun to the face. He stomps his glorious human feet, even though I prefer the talons. Luffy unleashes more attacks, but Kaido is unfazed even after it was hurled 20 kilometers after Luffy's punch. Luffy is gonna need the help of his Nakamas. He'll solo Kaido for the entire fight, but will soon arrive at the time where he'll play 3v1 against this bootleg Aquaman. And we're about to talk about that in a sec. Kaido then powers up, hits him once, and gets knocked out and unconscious from one power up. This is like that time I lightly typed my brother as a kid, and he counted me with the force of 1,000,000 suns. He's still glaring at my feet, my glorious feet. This is a clear foreshadowing of the fact that Kaido has good looking feet in both dragon and human form. Kaido orders some dude to move Luffy into jail, but Luffy knocked them out. Kaido was amused and left. Luffy was instead dragged to the prison, and there, in my opinion, was the beginning of the development of his mental fortitude. Moreover, Luffy spent his time in prison to learn Rio, but this has absolutely nothing to do with the fight. I'm joking. If Luffy dropped the soap in prison and he's made of rubber, prisoners are going to wreck his ass and his mind would have broken instead. Reminds me of a girl with braided twin tails. Fortunately, he's not in prison school, and so his mental health aside, in spite of the dire situation before him, Luffy manages to break out of the prison soon enough. A significant number of episodes, and the next time he fights Kaido, he shows up by breaking the ceiling to join Zoro and the others and encounters Kaido alongside Big Mom. Luffy walks past Kaido and Big Mom to complete an epic entrance for extra flair flair and Twitter retweets. He then talks to Kinemon and orders his obedience to subordinate law to teleport the scabbards down. And as this happens, Kaido tries to attack him, but Luffy gets out of the way and counterattacks with Rio-infused Red Rock. This attack knocks Kaido down and makes him bleed like a sissy little girl. Kaido gets back up and attacks Luffy with his suspicious little bat that might or might not fit in his personal cave system, but Luffy was just grazed by it. Big Mom was there too, but she was not invited for this video. Even Kaido told her to get her own episode. Kaido then transformed into this dragon form and attacked Luffy, Law, and Kid. They voted and Luffy managed to land a conch rifle. Luffy had the help of his crew and a few extra people. He couldn't have done this without his nakama. He'll even ride a dragon to get back to Onigashima, and I'll show you in a bit. But eventually, Luffy gets tired because of his usage of Gear 4th and then was swallowed by... Hold on, let me check that again. Yeah. Kaido swallowed Luffy, and as inappropriate that might sound, he should make Vor content too because that sounds sexy as hell. Zoro slices through Kaido's scale and gets Luffy out of paradise. Kaido graces us with his most famous form yet, his Ibis form. His feet in this form are the most attractive one yet, as it mixes his human leg with dragon talons. Luffy and Kaido then exchange his blow, but Luffy fell short. He got knocked out again. Kaido pointed out that Luffy is glaring at him while unconscious for the second time, but he doesn't even know Luffy just posted 46 different pictures of his hybrid form feet on Feet Fighter, and I have saved 47 of them. Zoro and Law, being best bros, tried to save Luffy from Kaido's seductively dangerous Tutsis, but Kaido attacked them afterwards, and even tried to seduce them too. Kaido, look, stop being greedy. Luffy's determination gets reignited, and then he exchanges blow with Kaido again, until he gets yeeted off the castle. Later in an interview, Kaido stated that Luffy was not Joy Boy, and as Luffy fell deeper underwater, the battles in Onigashima still continued, but they all seemed to lose all hope after learning of Luffy's defeat. Momonosuke stepped in and used Mary to tell everyone that Luffy will definitely impregnate Kaido, and this boosted their morale, even though Luffy was still missing. Eventually, the Hurt Pirates heard Luffy underwater and saved him from entering the Ocean Gate Wikipedia page. In spite of his second defeat, Luffy was still as determined as ever, and here's how he showed it. Luffy lasts more round than the average human male, because he went at it twice, but still couldn't impregnate Blue Shenron. Fortunately, he went back for the third round, as he really wanted that Kadusi. Get Kaido aside, we skip to the time Luffy pushes Momonosuke to fly. After pulling his whiskers, Momonosuke was able to fly in and open the Blind Dragon Airlines. Luffy ride Momonosuke to Onigashima, and after he arrived, he unleashed a 10 of attacks with Yamato. This forces Kaido to turn into his dragon form, and Luffy landed an elephant gun and other attacks on Kaido before he even attempted to attack him back. Kaido is then forced to change forms once again into his attractive talon form, and then he exchanges blow with Luffy. The resulting chaos from the clash opened up the skies of Onigashima. The two hit each other back for quite a while, and Luffy slowly gained the Emperor and after he used Red Rock gun. Then both of them laughed and complimented each other's feats. Then Kaido decided to drink a power up. After this, they clashed as Kaido went through different forms. Then they soon learned that Big Mom was gangbanged by two grown adult men. And that sounds really inappropriate, but it's exactly what happened. Luffy entered Gear 4 Snake Man and attacked Kaido with his Hydro attack. Kaido later then stated in an interview that the omnidirectional nature of this attack should be impossible. This was actually a clever foreshadowing from Oda that we will finally see a pregnant Kaido soon, and I'll invite you guys to his gender reveal party later down the line, and that's coming up in a bit. Kaido escapes the attack and grabs Luffy with his smile, which I strongly recommend to new couple to check for compatibility. Luffy also eventually escapes. This disrupts Kaido's abhorrent breath attack. Luffy also charges another overcon gun, but Guernica locks his arm, allowing Kaido to land his attack. Kaido is mad that someone joined the fight, so he sent Guernica to the gulag. Then he goes back to the castle saying that Luffy was dead. Now Oda has just one option, to introduce Luffy to a power-up, and that's exactly what he did next. So I was thinking, Luffy is made of rubber, so he's basically a condom. And if that's so, how would he even cream Whoa, hold on. That's why it became white. He represented... After a thorough review, my lawyer suggested that I do not finish this sentence. After Kaido went back to the castle, he shouted the main character died, which triggered the flag in the systems. Oda, being the troll that he is, wanted to create a cartoon. Soon enough, Kaido hears what seems like drum beats and he was dragged like my privates being grabbed by my uncle. He picks him up like a kitten, then proceeds to slam him down to the ground. Kaido was ecstatic, saying that he was glad that Luffy didn't die like he wasn't the one hitting him like 5 minutes ago. And then he tries to kill Luffy again with his poor hygiene, but Luffy reflected back. Then they talk about awakening and how rubber condoms affect the environment by not allowing people to leave. So is a condom a devil fruit awakening? Kaido then eats Luffy again, and I'm not gonna lie, it's getting pretty obvious that Kaido is interested in giving more Vor content. Luffy just bounced around in his inside and used his Fusen technique to inflate Kaido, and this is why we all One Piece fan. Operation Impregnation is successful. All sorts of things happen here. Luffy stretched his eyes, caused them baby bumps, and made a jumping world out of Kaido. I can't make this up, this sounds like multiple fetishes being granted by Luffy. He even moonwalked in the air like he was the baby Michael Jackson, dungled over back on it years ago, and just learned to move out of fear, unveiling Luffy's cosplay of the mummified alien unveiled in the Mexican Congress. But then he remembers that the fight isn't over. What yet? His Nakama still need help. His power gradually accumulated, and he went back to his magma form. He charged at Kaido, but bounced right back. He then punched Kaido comically with his face being deformed numerous times. Luffy also grabbed the lightning bolt like monkeys grab on branches, because of course his name is Monkey. Kaido retaliated and knocked him up, but Luffy grabbed onto him and dragged him to the skies. Kaido attacked Luffy numerous times to make him let go. He loved him at this point. Then as they shared their passionate kiss, Luffy got hit by Kaido's breath and didn't want to continue. Instead, he inflated his other fist to a much bigger size and prepared to attack. Kaido shielded himself with flames, which made Luffy let go of him and said that his fist would never reach him because his flame would burn it. Kaido then complimented his tenacity and asked him what kind of world he'll create. Like, dude, you're already announcing that you want to go to the gulag. So Luffy replied that he wants a world where his friend can eat as much as they want. Pretty selfish dream. What about his enemies? What about me? I want Kaido to eat me too, and I'll have a conversation with the baby inside him. Luffy then connected his face to Kaido's face, tearing one of his horns out and sending him back down to the ground into Wano's magma chamber, where Big Mom's body also resides. Luffy basically nutted in Kaido and said, "You'll become a great single mother," before enacting domestic violence. Truly, this is truly peak fiction. After that, Kaido gave birth to a beautiful baby named Lufudo, and the story continued as Lufudo, One Piece The Next Generation. I mean, kidding aside, he's a character most of us grow up with, and as long as you're asking me, he is a fine character to aspire to be, minus the pirate, the physical violence, and the numerous property damage. Stay unhinged. Alright, bye.